July 7th, 2023. Blackjack update. So, first time I went and I played after getting backed off back to back in the same night a few nights ago. So I was mildly gun shy, but I wanted to get back out there because if you don't play, you can't win. So, first went to a casino just off the strip, one that I've been to quite a bit. I've had decent experiences at. Haven't had any, no sweat, if you will, no pressure from the pit regarding counting and stuff like that. And I've actually played there going 1 to 2 hands to 1, back and forth, whatever. And a pretty decent experience in general. So I played there for, I was like an hour, say an hour and a half. I was up $125. Went back and played, wound up $60, so I gave back about 60. So after an hour and a half, I was up 60. I was watching people play. It's the weekend, so you get all sorts of folks out there. A lot of people that do not know what they're doing because they're gambling, not counting. They barely know basic strategy. Just a lot of people getting an ace-7 against the 2, and it's a double, and people aren't even hitting that hand. I mean, it's a double, especially a double deck, and they're not even hitting it. And just to give you a sense of who's out there, so I know a lot of you don't play blackjack, but those of you that do, you're losing money for not hitting that hand. And, well, I will say this, the training I received, we are trained, and I believe that the other person, how they play, will not affect our results in the long run. Could it affect it in that immediate hand? Of course. However, somebody making a bad play or mistake, it could help us or could hurt us because you don't know what the next card is. So you just, it can be frustrating at times, but you just kind of deal with it. And you play, playing as much as I have, you're seeing thousands and thousands and thousands of hands. So it all works itself out. So still though, I'd like it if everybody in the world played basic strategy. It doesn't have to be perfect, but at least if you got an ace-7, hit it. If not, ideally double it, whatever. So I left that place up $60, and then I was gonna consider going to the M Resort, which is near where I'm pet sitting. Changed my mind, I went to another one in that general direction. I was just gonna sort of research it, and I guess in the long run, because I wound up losing, it might have been a mistake. I initially went in to do some research because I wanted to see if I played 2 hands most of the time. Oh, Jesus, red light. If I played 2 hands most of the time, and I went down to 1, would that be less of a flag to surveillance instead of playing 1 hand most of the time and then going to 2 and the count goes up? Is that what you do? That's what you do. So when the count goes up, you go from 1 to 2 hands to get more money out when it's, to our mildly greater advantage. So I went in playing 2 hands, and when the count would go down, I'd move it to 1. Howsoever, I didn't really move it from 2 to 1 that soon. So if it was mildly negative, I wouldn't change it. If it was like a minus true count of 1, sometimes of 2, I'd leave out my 2 hands. Granted, it was like a $10 or $15 table, so I'd either had $20 or $30 out per hand. But then I just got in the groove of not going from 2 to 1, because I did have a mild concern of it standing out. And this place where I played, use the left 2 lanes. Yeah. Their cut wasn't so good. And I just kind of said, screw it, which in hindsight or foresight, I knew it was a mistake not to play there because their cut is so bad. They're cutting a deck off. Maybe you're playing a deck and a quarter. And I guess I was spoiled at the other places where I played at here in Vegas, where they were cutting off maybe 1/4 and playing 1 3/4. So anything closer to 1 1/4 or 1 seems kind of crappy to me. So I gave it a shot. I initially started at $300, kind of treaded water for a bit, and I had one hand that stood out that kind of got me. I think I had $30 out, on 2 hands, and I got a pair of 2s, so I split it. Then I got another 2, so I split it. Another 2, so I split it. So my $30 hand became $120, and then 2 of those hands became doubles. And then the hand next to that, so it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I had 6 bets out right there. And then my next hand was 2 8s. So another split. There were no doubles on that. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4 2s, 2 doubles at 6, 7, 8 on one dealing in the shoe. 6, 7, 8. So 8 hands out. I won 2 of them because the dealer had a 4 and went like 4, 14, 19, something like that. So that kind of sucked. And it was just a bunch of that. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, and then watching other people, again, ace 7 against a 2, they don't hit. And I keep tracking the cards. Okay, what would have happened if the person took the card, whether they doubled or not? And most of the time, somebody took the card, even if it was shitty for them, like ace 7, and they got an 8, so they wound up with a 16. That still would have had the dealer bust. Turn right. Okay, hold on a second. I'm trying to read my whatchamacallit here. My GPS. It says 215 east. I'm looking at. Hold on a second. Alright, I think it's right up here. So that happened a whole bunch, and it was frustrating, especially if I had a mildly higher bet and a split and a double, and they had a double hand, but they don't play it like that. Granted, I know I just said, what they do in the long run doesn't affect, but it sucks when in the moment it causes you to lose. Because the dealer, if that person took that card that they, quote, should have, the dealer would have busted. So, kind of annoying. So, I initially started at 300, bought in for another 2, so I was in for 5. Then I bought in for another 3, so I was in for 800. And then there were sort of people coming and going. It was 2 hands, me and a woman. Then it was 3 hands, another woman came in. Then it was going to be 4 hands, and then the guy came in. At that point, I was down 600, so I decided to cut my losses there. Because it's like, what time is it? I don't know, like 3 in the morning. They were closing tables down, so there were fewer options. The cut there is shitty. I was playing kind of scared. I was worried about surveillance because where I was sitting was pretty close to the one of the pit tables, like the pit supervisors. There's a desk where they've got extra decks of cards and pens and papers and this and that, and keys. And the phone would ring, and every time the phone rang, I was thinking, okay, the person picking up the phone is gonna turn around, look at me, and then hang up the phone, come over to me and say, excuse me, sir, I need you to call out no more blackjack. So my focus was off. I wasn't betting the way I should. So when the count would go up and I'm at a 15, I would initially go from 15 to 25. Then if it went to like another higher count, I go from 25 to 50, 50 to 75. I wasn't doing that. I'm doing like 15 to 20 to 30. I just was thrown off by the other night. So I wasn't really playing my game, and their penetration on the cut was bad. People playing tonight weren't playing correctly. I was experimenting, so I learned a lesson. So I was down 600 at this place, up $60 at the other. So for the night, after 3.5 hours, down 540. So I'm still up for the month. So that's all I got. I may or may not play tomorrow or the next night. We'll see. But I do know what I have to do regarding... I'm going to stick with one hand and just raise it by units from there instead of 1 to 2 or 2 to 1, and just kind of go back to the basics for myself and see how that goes. And make sure I'm playing with people that kind of have a clue, and don't play there with the people if they don't know what they're doing. All right, folks. I'll give you an update as soon as I have. All right, later.